but I feel compelled to speak what's on my heart, because there is no universally held opinion in this room. So I'm going to address all the issues. The indictment of Sheriff Carona hits home with me. For one, this party endorsed his re-election last year with a 2/3 vote, and I voted for him all 3 times that he ran. Secondly, nobody in this room knows more than I the impact of an overzealous prosecutor and how witnesses threatened with prosecution can lie to make or break a case. However, even reading the charges and allegations against the sheriff through the most forgiving filter, he appears to have fallen from grace and has compromised a promising political career. Some in this party believe that he should resign based on the allegations and the reports in the press. Some believe that he should take a leave of absence. Still others believe that we should stand behind the sheriff unless it has been proven that he has committed a crime. All of these options are less than perfect given the information we have. To those that want the party to call for his resignation tonight, I say that you may be right, but I'm not prepared to make that request tonight. You see, I have a unique perspective. I've been indicted. I've had prosecutors raid my house. I've had prosecutors get people to wear wires to get me to say incriminating things against myself and try to entrap me with my own words. Yet I was cleared of all those charges. But this is not a discussion just about me or Sheriff Carona. It's a broader discussion about liberty, perspective, and prudence. Our own Senator John Lewis was indicted and cleared of criminal charges. President Clinton's agricultural secretary, Mike Espy, was indicted on 38 counts. He was tried by a jury and cleared of all counts. President Reagan's close advisor, Michael Deaver, was indicted and cleared of all charges. The fact that it's a federal indictment alone does not warrant a resignation. Federal prosecutors have been wrong before. In these cases and others like them, elected officials and members of the public condemned these people, drew the worst possible conclusions about them, and called for their resignations. And guess what? All of those people were wrong after the facts came out. After the facts were vetted and subjected to cross-examination, it was determined that the prosecutors were wrong. So let me be clear. I will not call for the sheriff's resignation simply because he's been indicted. I at least would like to see some evidence, I might add corroborated evidence, to come to that conclusion with respect to the indictment. I also want to be clear tonight that I'm not passing judgment on this prosecution. I simply don't know the facts beyond the testimony of what's been reported about George Jaramillo and Don Heidel, 2 convicted felons. Again, some perspective is important here. In my case, the prosecutors threatened a witness to say certain things against me, or he would be indicted on multiple felonies. He was scared. He didn't want to go to prison, so he cooperated with the prosecutors and told the grand jury what the prosecution wanted him to say. Later, he recanted all of his testimony that led to my indictment, and my charges were dismissed. In my mind, it's important to note that Mr. Jaramillo appears to be a chief witness. He's an extremely articulate and highly motivated liar. He's in jail tonight for corruption unrelated to our sheriff. One of the reasons he pled guilty is he was caught forging evidence by backdating the contract 6 years. He's facing an additional 23 years in prison for crimes that he has already confessed to. There's a whole list of other improprieties that I could describe, but the fact remains the only way he can get his sentence reduced is to help the prosecution convict Mike Carona. This causes me some concern. However, if you didn't like what I just said, understand that I'm not saying the sheriff is innocent or perfect. Far from it. I'm saying we should at least see some corroboration to substantiate the charges before we draw any irreversible conclusions with respect to the indictment. I anticipate that some of the evidence will be forthcoming shortly. To those of you who want to oppose debate or action on any resolution seeking resignation or chastisement, I would also respectfully disagree. Like me, many of you have had a long friendship with Mike Carona and have maintained many assumptions about his character and his private life. It would appear that those assumptions should properly be called into question. We are all saddened by the need to question the integrity of a friend and a public official whom we've had supported. I suggest that we should always give our friends the benefit of the doubt, but we cannot turn a blind eye to conduct we know to be inappropriate. We cannot turn a blind eye to conduct that brings shame and embarrassment to his office and the folks who supported him. For this, Sheriff Carona has much to answer for. Thus, while we hope the answers clear his name,